Cabernet Sauvignon, my favorite red grape in the world. I'll put it out there right now.
That's the title of your new book?
When I retire. That will be the title of my new book. But Cabernet Sauvignon is, to me, it's the grape variety that I've been drinking all my life. And where am I going to find it? I'm going to find it in Bordeaux. I'm definitely a left bank type of guy. Great wines from the Saint Julien and Pauillac. I'm also looking at Napa Valley, and for Napa Valley, specifically Napa Valley in California. And then for me, I'm looking for that inexpensive Cabernet Sauvignon, Chile. I'll leave it over to you guys if you have other places in the world where you think Cabernet Sauvignon is a must.
I think you firstly put three very good ideas on the table, all very different flavors. I would add one or two others. I would put Australia on the map.
Which part of Australia?
Particular places like Coonawarra.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Coonawarra is way down in the south of Australia. It's actually the armpit of the world, to be honest, down there. 6 months of the year it just rains solidly, and the other 6 months it just steams.
And
But
it's not very pretty.
It's flat as a pancake.
I like Coonawarra for everybody who's
Yeah.
from Coonawarra. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But carry on.
Describe what happens when
but-
you start digging in Coonawarra.
If you start digging in Coonawarra, you put your arm into this hole full of limestone and it comes out soaking wet because the water table is only about 2 feet down. It's a remarkable place, actually. I mean, we can be rude as you like. You've got to be rude about the Australians. I mean, why are the Australians there? To be rude about. So that we've all done a bit of that.
Okay.
But it's basically an area of Australia. We think of Australia as a hot area. In fact, it's an area which has got the same kind of temperatures as Bordeaux, right on the southwest coast of France. Bordeaux, I agree with you, is the place where it just seems to be righter than anywhere else. But Cabernet Sauvignon has spread right around the world. I think people just thought it'll grow anywhere.
Monterey tried Cabernet, and for many, many years at Monterey, California, tried it, didn't work.
The Monterey veggies, I
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
That water table was very, very low, or high, however you want to look at it. What's your favorite places?
Well, I think in the end I have to land on Napa.
Okay.
There is something about Cabernet Sauvignon in Napa that is unrivaled in this country. And there have been endless tastings. I know the two of you have participated in them. I've participated in them. The big question when California first came on, the famous Judgment of Paris in 1976, and one of the great astonishments of it was the idea that these famous French tasters could not distinguish between a red Bordeaux, which are preponderantly but not exclusively Cabernet Sauvignon, at least in the Médoc area, Saint Julien, Pauillac, Margaux, etc. They could not distinguish between these very famous names in Bordeaux and Napa Valley Cabs. The world was astonished, no one more so, I might note, than we Americans. Mm-hmm. And so the tastings occurred again and again and again and again and again and again and again, and every time Napa has come out either the equal of, or, depending upon the tasting, perceived as superior to the most famous Cabernets in the world.
If you haven't seen Bottle Shock, that's what it's all about. That
Yes.
whole tasting, the Judgment in Paris. And actually tonight, just so you know, I'm sorry you guys can't come, but we're having a Stag's Leap Cabernet Sauvignon.
There you
I
are.
thought I'd
Which
throw that-
was
the winner.
The winner.
And
And the Reds.
Thank you for not inviting us.
Yes.
No, you're fine.
No, I wasn't going to come in.
No, no,
No,
I'm
not coming. I'm not
Sure,
invited.
when the
So
camera's
I
on, he's
when I'm not
inviting you,
wanted.
but did he invite you
that's-
off camera?
That's,
No, he didn't.
that's a very interesting thing, Matt,
I'm a
because
loser here.
is it that actually Napa was showing that it was sort of producing the fruit that Bordeaux wanted to be and can hardly ever be, although with global warming it'll be there a bit more often. Is that why Napa wines kept beating the Bordeaux wines?
I think that there is, and it's something I have written about, and I realize it's a somewhat highfalutin phrase, there is a vocation of place for Cabernet Sauvignon in Napa. All grape varieties that have something to say find at least one place, and often more, but at least one or two places in the world where they become the Pavarotti of their particular grape variety, where they simply come forth with an expression that is unrivaled. It used to be only Burgundy for Pinot Noir. It used to be only the Médoc for Cabernet Sauvignon. Now we're finding other areas in the world, but at the highest level, typically maybe only one other area as a general rule. And I would submit that for Cabernet Sauvignon, obviously Bordeaux set the standard, it continues to set a standard. But the other great place, equal, is Napa.
I love both.
It's not a question of having to choose between them.
I love both, and actually my cellar is full of Napa Cabernets and it's full of Bordeaux. Why do I think they're different in style? If I put even somebody who's now has been tasting wines for 5 years, you put a Napa Cabernet Sauvignon, 5-year-old Napa Cabernet Sauvignon against a 5-year-old Bordeaux, the Napa Cabernet will win.
Because
It's accessible fruit. So the Californians have accessible fruit right away, where on a Bordeaux, a great chateau, in my opinion, a great chateau and a great vintage, you need a minimum 10 years. That's when you start thinking about it. But California Cabernets, you can start drinking right away, and they do have the capacity to age, as we all know. But I mean, that's my opinion.
what about Washington State?
Washington State is actually producing. This is out of nowhere for me. I mean, 20 years ago, we didn't talk about, we thought about Merlot, we thought about Riesling, but wow, look at the Cabernet that's coming out here right now. What do we have right here?
Woodward Canyon.
The Woodward Canyon,
Yeah.
of course, one of the top Cabernets. Your thoughts? It's your area, Pacific Northwest.
Well, there's that. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I think that the Cabernets of Washington, which is east of the Cascade Mountains, it's dry, relatively high, irrigated, tremendous sunlight, but because of its high desert quality and what's called the diurnal difference of temperature, it can get to 100 degrees during the day and it can plummet 40 or even 50 degrees at night. And because of this diurnal difference, and it's true everywhere in the world, not just eastern Washington, when you have such extreme differences from day to night, you have a preservation of acidity. And so the Washington Cabernets have a bright, refreshing acidity allied to an intense, very pure, very delineated Cabernet fruit. They're very exciting wines, but I am sorry to say this, Napa has something extra. The best Cabernets from Napa
Body, intensity, flavor.
have layers
Layers,
and a
it's true.
dimensionality that I generally don't find in Washington State. We're now talking about saying, all right, you have 100%, Washington gets to 90 or 95. So that remaining few things, that's where you wind up spending $100 a bottle rather than 20, which allow me to toss one question to you. When it comes to bargain Cabernet of quality, where would you go?
I mentioned it before, but I really do believe it's Chile.
I absolutely agree.
Unbelievable quality of wines coming out of there for that $10 to $15 range.
So that's your go-to bargain
My
Cabernet.
go-to place, even less than 10. Even less than 10 and more than 15. It's doing fantastic things. And it also blends the wine, not only with Merlot, but with this marvelous and unusual Carmenere grape.
Yeah.
Chile you get more mouthful of fruit for your buck than any other country in the world in red wines from Chile. I would say that an area we haven't talked of really is Western Australia.
Okay.
Western Australia,
Margaret River, things like that.
Margaret River is very like Bordeaux in its conditions. It's so it brings that lean, sort of gentle, marvelously drinkable quality.
Slightly grassy.
Yes, slightly grassy in a good Bordeaux. And one other area we haven't talked about is the Hawke's Bay area of New Zealand, which produces
Yes.
fabulous
Craggy
dark,
range. Places
craggy,
like
yeah,
that.
almost gravelly, dark flavors.
the gimlet
10 years,
gravels.
10 years
Yeah.
time,
Well, I think
we'll all be talking
They're
about
very
that.
supple.
We're
They're
talking
very
about
supple.
classics that we have here on the
Yes.
table here right now and new things that are coming.
Yeah.
Last question, food. Cabernet. Your favorite Cabernet with what food?
Well-hung ribs of beef. Just, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that.
You expect me to follow that?
Can't beat it.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm done. I'm out of here. I cannot follow well-hung ribs of beef.
I want me to go? And
Yes,
then
you go. You can go.
Lamb. I mean,
Yes.
when I go to Bordeaux,
Okay.
they have lamb
I'll
for
take it.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's probably what I'm going to be having tonight is some
Well,
lamb.
I'm certainly in the meat range, but I would probably choose, amazingly enough, something like an oxtail stew. I love braised oxtails. They're intense. They have that unctuosity because they have all that cartilage and all that
Right.
lovely fat. And a great Napa cab or a great Bordeaux or any great cab from anywhere just slices through that. It's a big, rich dish, and Cabernet has that capacity to be both rich and refreshingly acidic.
Next stop is dinner, guys.
Okay.
Here, so this is it.
There it is.
Cabernet Sauvignon. Thank
Here's
you very much.
to ribs.
Great Cabernet. It's the best Cabernet I've
Yeah,
had.
God, if
How
only
can a rib
Cabernet.
be well hung?
If only.